This is Brian Zipse from Horse Racing Nation. We're here with Wise Dan in the background and Charlie LoPresti, talking about Wise Dan and his long-awaited return to the races. Charlie, how's he doing?
Well, he's doing really well. We got him on an everyday gallop program right now, and we get some weather here the next couple of days, and maybe give him a little light breeze.
Light breeze, okay. Yeah. He hasn't had his first breeze yet?
No, he hadn't, because we've been on an every other day schedule the last month, and now we've upped it to an everyday schedule galloping, the radiographs look good, and he looks good. But next step now, you know, maybe we'll give him like a 3/8 or a half-mile breeze and see how he does, and we'll just kind of go from there.
Do you have a expected date, or how soon?
No, you know, everybody's anticipating like the 4-star Dave. You hear people talking. We're just going to go slow and easy with him. In a perfect world, we could like to make a start at Saratoga, but if we run him in the Woodbine Mile, Shadwell, and the British Cup, that would be awesome if we can get to those races. I think, you know, we want to make every race count, obviously, and that would be perfect if we could run him in the Woodbine race, the first race.
Woodbine Mile, first race, and that's September.
That's September. But you know, I kind of think that maybe he would need a race before then, a little easier race. But you know, I don't know how easy those races in Saratoga come up. You know, the 4-star Dave and the Bernard Baruch. Of course, if you run him in the Bernard Baruch, the Woodbine race would be out because they're too close together.
Okay. Saratoga, you're going to bring him up no matter what?
No, we're on the fence kind of about that right now. I think I want to keep him close to home, get a little further along with him. I'd hate to get him up there in 10 days and then maybe his ankle flares up or something like that. So the timing's not the greatest, but we may. We're gonna, you know, the meet opens on the 24th there, and we're just gonna go the next, you know, week or 10 days and then try to make a better assessment of where we're at.
Play it by ear. That sounds good. I'm glad he's doing so well. Now, 8-year-old horse. He had a tough year last year as far as physical setbacks with everything. Was it close to retirement, or just he's letting you know?
I tell you, he went through a lot last year with the colic surgery, and a lot of people wrote him off after that. And when I put him back in training, I didn't write him off, and I knew what I had. And when he went to Saratoga, his works weren't brilliant, but that was by design early on. I didn't want to press the button, just like I'm not doing right now. And then when we turned the switch on him, I mean, he started working lights out up there, and then he ran into Bernard Baruch. And people, even though it wasn't a grade 1, people don't realize how tough that race was for him, coming back off colic surgery, carrying top weight. He carried more weight than any horse carried last year in that race. It was a comeback race.
That's right.
Then he come back here and won the Shadwell. He missed a break in a grade 1. That probably was his most impressive race. And then we noticed about 10 days after that race that he had a little filling in his ankle and he wasn't 100%. So we took some x-rays and opted not to run him in the Breeders' Cup. And it seemed like everybody forgot about him. I mean, it's like he wasn't the older male, he wasn't the grass horse. I'm like, what did this horse do wrong? He was undefeated this year. It
was a tough year, main sequence and everything, so it was it's hard to win an Eclipse, but missing the Breeders' Cup, it could have been 3 in a row last year. How tough was that, missing it?
Well, it was really tough, you know, it was really tough.
No one's ever won the Breeders' Cup 3 times in a 4-year span. Is that something?
Well, it was the toughest thing that I had to do, was make that decision to x-ray that ankle, but I knew my horse wasn't 100%, and I know I did the right thing for him, you know. I know we cost him probably a couple of Eclipse Awards. I know if he would have went out there and won that, he would have surely gotten the grass horse, and he would have probably got Older Male again.
Absolutely.
But just the way it is, you got to take care of the horse. The horse comes first.
That's right. That's good. That's good to hear. Do you realize how big the fan base is for Wise Dan? That's why we're here today, Charlie, to see you, to see Wise Dan, because his fan base is huge. What does it mean to you?
Well, it's amazing to have a horse of this caliber, you know. It's just amazing to have one. I mean, we've had a rough year racing this year. It hadn't been real good for us, you know, and it makes you realize that when you have a horse like Wise Dan, and all of a sudden you don't have him, and you don't have horses like that in your barn, you realize how tough this game is and how hard it is to stay on top.
Yeah. Now I had the pleasure of being at Turfway Park about 5 years ago when he broke his maiden by 15 lengths.
Yeah.
How early along the road did you know you had something special?
I had thought the first time we ran him we had a special horse, you know, and he got beat the first time, and Mr. Fink was like, you know, Charlie, we ought maybe think about just running him for 30 or something. You know, I never had a good Wiseman Ferris, and Mr. Fink, just give me one more chance with him. I said, I think this horse is a really nice horse. He broke his maiden by 15. Came back on Derby Day, he won again.
Yeah.
Then he had a little injury in his hind ankle. We had to stop on him, nothing major, but we had to stop on him, and brought him back in Phoenix, and he won that race, and then he was in the Breeders' Cup, and it's been up, you know. But his 4-year-old year wasn't brilliant, you know. His 4-year-old, he got beat in the Commonwealth here, and then we ran him in the Ali Sheba Long, and he got beat, and then we ran him in the allowance race, and he got beat, and we were kind of figuring out what to do with it. We wanted to try him on the grass, and there was no allowance race on the grass for him. So we put him in the Firecracker, he won that, and he just went north from there. So that's what I tell people about horses all the time. You never know when they're going to turn the corner, when they're going to get good. You got to persevere with them until they prove that they're not.
That's right. 5 years later, here we are.
Well, I'm just glad to see him back on the racetrack. I'm glad to see him sound, and I'm glad to see him happy. And the biggest thing for us doing this and bringing him back and doing all the work that we did was to make sure that he's going to have, even if he never runs again, he'll have good quality of life. I mean, he can live his days out in our pasture at home. We can ride him. I mean, his ankle looks great right now. I can just tell you, it looks really good. He's in good shape, so I don't want to do anything to jeopardize him in any way. If any time through this that he doesn't tell me he's the same horse or there's a hiccup along the road, I would say we probably will retire him. You know? Yeah. Well, I want what's best for him. I mean, you know, that's the biggest thing.
That's what we all want. That's what his fans want. So we're glad that he's with you.
Yeah.
And I thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
I'll see you some big races in the fall.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah. Thank you, Charles.
Thank you.